What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto where you
Welcome to episode 1292 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Getting hip to the hip. An evening for the Downey Wenjack Fund. The Moment Lab. Brand marketing and strategy, PR, advertising, and production. You need The Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mic debut, is Paul Langlois. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks a lot for having me, Mike.
Did you come straight from breakfast television?
We just did. Yes, we pulled it off. We did one song and short little interview, and I think we pulled it off. I haven't got any angry texts from family or anything.
So is that like? Do you remember? Is that Sid 60? I'm just curious. Is Liza Fromer there this week? Like? Do you remember who was chatting you up on breakfast?
Liza and Devo.
Oh, Devo. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe Sid got the week off or whatever. Liza, of course, is like a throwback. She was the second ever like co-host after Ann Romer, and then Dina replaced her, and then Dina left, and now Liza is like filling in. I think I just want to put an endorsement out there. Liza should be the full-time co-host on breakfast television. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm with you on that. You know, we used to watch Liza years and years ago. My wife reminded me of that because as soon as she heard her name, she's like, oh, we used to watch her all the time. And then once I saw her in person this morning, I was like, that's right. And she looks great. Better than even she used to.
She's like a fine wine. You're a fan of wine, right? You like a fine wine. Liza Fromer's aging.
Yes, absolutely. And well, you know, wine's all right. But,
Wine's all right. Beer's better.
I'm gonna crack this beer if it's okay.
So yeah. So I'm gonna.
So this is the beer that sponsors you.
Great Lakes Brewery, fantastic brewery. You got yourself a lager on the mic. You have to lift it up and put it right in front of that mic. I know you got a lot of work here to do. Okay, this is Paul. Okay, so enjoy your Great Lakes. In that second crack, I want to let everybody know we're not alone in this room, Paul and I. And Paul, long time coming. I was going to say long time running. Big fan of yours. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Oh, thanks a lot. Nice to meet you.
But let's shout out the other people in the room. One is actually on a microphone here. Introduce Greg Ball for everybody. How do you know Greg?
Well, I've known Greg for years and years. Kingston, and you know, we're buddies, but also musical partners of sort. And I produced, I think, 3 of Greg's records with his band, and we have another side outfit called the Campfire Liars Club, and this is Greg Ball from St. Mary's, Ontario.
That's the home of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, it certainly is, yeah. Hi there.
Greg, nice to meet you. Happy you're here. Hope you enjoy your fresh craft beer from Great Lakes. I'll even send you guys home with some Great Lakes beer as well.
Travelers,
appreciate it.
So, Greg, did you play on breakfast television this morning?
I certainly did. It was a little bit nerve-wracking because Jake was watching me.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's another person in this room? Okay, we're going to get to Jake. Jake's already an FOTM, so everybody knows the great Jake Gold. Now, what song did you guys play this morning?
We played It Matters to Me, which is the first song on my newest record.
So that's your new single, Paul.
Yep. And the album's called Guess What? And it came out on Friday. And I personally witnessed 8 people buy it yesterday. So, you know, it's a start.
Well, listen, you've raised the bar. You got a big bar to reach there. We're going to talk about all of this. But if you played It Matters to Me on breakfast television here, because I just found out that Greg's here and he's got a guitar. Will you play a song in this episode of Toronto Mic'd?
We will play a song. Yeah, we're unless you want different. We
No,
do,
I want a song.
We have a song in mind
that?
that's on the record, and it's called "I Feel Real, Yo."
Okay, so that's where I was going with that. I'm happy to, while we chat about the new album, I gotta hear more details about like who's in the Paul Langlois band. I have It Matters to Me loaded up. I was not gonna play It Matters to Me if you guys were gonna play It Matters to Me, because that's kind of dumb. So I was just trying to fish to find out what song you might play on this program. So you're not gonna play It Matters to Me.
No, we'd like to play "I Feel Real, Yo" because it's it's more emotional kind of song.
Okay, do you mind if I play a little of It Matters to Me, the new single, and then I want to find out about the new work you're doing, Paul, and then I want to find out how it compares to the old work, and I might have a couple of questions about the old work. You guys ready to kick out It Matters to Me here?
Yes, absolutely. You ready, Greg?
Does it matters to me or I feel real you?
No, you're not playing now. I'm going to play this.
Ready for Mike to kick it out.
I'm new at this.
Greg, by the way, we're going to kick this out, but real quick, what is the name of your band that Paul produced, Greg?
It was just Greg Ball. It was somebody told us that it was a singer-songwriter sort of album, and I had to go with it. I wanted to name the band, but none of my ideas were very good.
But how do you score like a member of the Tragically Hip as your producer? Like, to me, this is top shelf, man.
Well, we met over the bar. I'm a bartender. And he was in there just having one quick pint. Just a quick pint. And actually, we ended up playing together because a friend of ours, Jim Tidman, asked me to play in the Campfire Liars Club. So
we kind of met on stage.
On stage.
Okay. And then you got Paul to produce your Greg Ball album. That's cool.
I sort of had to beg a little bit. Just a little tiny bit.
And straight up, Paul, is he good? Like, is that a?
He's very good. Very prolific songwriter, and I was skeptical when he gave me. It was a cassette actually, and I just thought, I don't know if I want to listen to this. And as soon as I heard it, it was like, okay, this guy's really good, and we had a beautiful thing. There for a while, and now he's in my band. He's in the Paul Langlois band. And
okay, there's the first answer. Okay, because I want to find out everybody in this band.
Yeah.
But essentially, so if anybody passes you was it like a CD? What did he pass you? A link? Like, what did you pass today? Did you really pass?
Well, maybe it wasn't
really
a cassette.
It
was a CD. It was a CD.
I'd be worried no one could play the cassette. Like, here's my music here. It's like, what year is this?
And he's showing a cassette here.
Yeah, that's right.
And a cassette player, which is impressive.
I thought that was an iPhone.
I had to explain this the other day. The reason I have the tapes and everything is not that I'm listening to tapes, but I produced the Humble and Fred show. And Fred from Humble and Fred had a bunch of tapes in his attic. And he said, hey, can you digitize these? These might be old Humble and Fred shows. And I produced the show, so of course I'm happy to digitize it and have like old Humble and Fred shows. And then I'm going through the tapes to digitize them into MP3s. And it's not Humble and Fred. It's actually more like Scott Turner, May Potts, and Fred. It's like these are all recordings from like the 18 months that Fred was with another radio station in the early 90s. So not as fruitful as we hope, but... still fun to hear. Okay, without further ado, let's get to It Matters to Me, and we're going to talk about it. Here we go.
You held out the line, you threw it to me. We thought I was fine, I thought I was free. Other factors came in, and some just went out. I thought of you here, I thought of the doubt. It takes time to see, it takes time to know, it takes will to lead, it takes strength to show, it takes all your time to know where to go. It takes all you got to not take
Sounds great in the cans, man. Awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I'm happy with this record. Actually, almost a little bit proud of it, and
that's okay. You're allowed to be proud of it. Yeah.
well,
Why are you hesitant there? Is that because you're Canadian? Like, well, you're like almost like you're ashamed of the pride you feel in this art you created.
No, like not ashamed, but I didn't really want to do it, and I sort of really have to coax a song out of myself, and I kind of can't believe I did it, and I wouldn't have been able to do it with the guys in the band and their enthusiasm and just kind of, I'm just very happy that this has happened.
Well, let's name check them right now. Run down the members of the Paul Langlois band.
Okay, well, there's Greg Ball here, and he plays guitar and sings beautiful backups. We got Joe Carscallon on guitar. He's also in the Campfire Liars Club. Good buddy, and he's kind of playing guitar and lead guitar. Matt Mulvihill is on bass. I was just noticing his nice work on this song, Matters to Me. Another buddy, and then Bill Anglin on the drums, who is a giant and a giant killer.
Like, who are your influences in this album? Because I'll tell you who I hear a little bit of here. I hope you take this as a compliment it's intended as. But I hear a little like Neil Young influence in this jam.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I love Neil Young. I've never felt like he was a big influence, but of
maybe
course,
I just hear Neil in everything. Maybe
he's an influence on everything and everybody. So I take it as a total compliment, and I just sort of write what comes out, and the band sounds like we sound. It's not like we really discuss much. We just kind of played the songs.
Okay, there it goes. That's the album again. The album's called Guess What? Also the final cut in the. I listened to the album, loved it very much, and this is your lead single, and you're going to play another jam later, which is awesome. But this is what? This is your third, Paul. This is your third album, like outside the Tragically Hip. Do I have that right?
It is. Yeah, I made a couple, like maybe one in 2010. And one in 2013. The first one was called Fix His Head, and it was just me. I played everything, and it was a lonely experience, just me and the engineer, and solitary experience. But I got that out, didn't tour it, and then another record with a band that Rob Baker was in. Kindly, I didn't pay him a cent, even though he wanted 10 grand. And
it's real talk.
Yeah, he played, and we actually did a tour. We did 28 shows in 35 days across the country. But it was in the winter of 2013, and Greg Ball and his band opened up, and we were on a bus, but the country froze. It was in December, and so all the gigs were like minus 40.
Wow.
So getting people out was a bit challenging. So, yeah, this is my third one, and I never thought I would do another, but it's really because of the band guys that I was able to get myself up to do it.
So so I do let the FOTMs. FOTM, by the way, Paul, means friend of Toronto Mike. You, Paul, I'm excited to announce, Paul, you're now an FOTM friend.
Excellent.
Jake's been in the club for a while now. You're in the exclusive club
Okay,
now.
I'm not surprised Jake's been in the club, and I appreciate being in the club.
It was a long negotiation to get Jake in the club. Please don't think it was.
Well,
easy.
I know. Yeah, he's a bit of a tough negotiator.
On that note, did you ever watch Canadian Idol? Like, is this a program you would tune in?
I totally did, and I was totally happy and proud that Jake became a celebrity, and I thought he was very good on the show. I really honestly did.
So there were 4 judges on that show, and then there was the host, Ben Mulrooney, who's become a bud this summer, actually, and then there was John Doerr was doing a thing. But of all of them, the only one that has kind of eluded me is, and I should probably talk to Jake about this later, but Zach Werner. I don't know. Zach is kind of I don't know where he's at. I think he might be in Newfoundland, but all the other judges have dropped by. But
yeah, he's eluding me too. Zach Werner.
You're trying to...
Well, he owes me money.
He owes you money. I thought so. I heard that. He owes you money. Okay. So I have questions from FOTMs I'm going to get here, but
Okay.
So when you started, I'm just curious about the first 2 albums you put out, Without the Hip. earlier, like during the Hip's run there. I did read somewhere, I want you to maybe speak to this, but like members of the Hip doing things outside the Tragically Hip, was this like something that was discussed or was it frowned upon? Like, because all of a sudden it seems like with Coke Machine Glow, which was Gord Downey's first solo album, like that's 01. So you're well into your run. We'll get to that. But like, was that like the sign of like, oh, we can do things, parallel to the band, outside the band?
It was, but not for like about a year after when he first did that. Honestly, we were all like, well, why? I mean,
right.
You got us over here. Hello, Gord. And, we had done well, and he was looking to stretch out. And it took a little while, I think, for everyone to get used to it and try and not take offense to it, because once we all heard the record, and I actually sang on it, and it was a kind gesture on his part. He asked me to sing on it, backups on a song or two. And, once we sort of got used to the idea, it was like, yeah, well, I guess this is okay. We've been together a long time, and it's okay to do your own thing. And that sort of inspired, I think Robbie was maybe first with Strippers Union.
Right.
And then I did a solo thing, and everyone just kind of got up to their own thing, and we all realized that it was okay. But no, it was never discussed. Gord just went ahead and did it, and we all kind of reacted in our own private way.
So naturally, so I was speaking of Jim Cuddy, and Jim Cuddy does this thing where it's like, here's Blue Rodeo. Yeah, here's Blue Rodeo. Cuddy. Here's Blue Rodeo, here's the Jim Cuddy band, and they kind of like 6 months on, 6 months off. It's some kind of weird system he's got going, but it seems to work for him. But I'm always curious, is there any music outside the Hip that was like created during the run of the Hip that you thought, oh, maybe that should have been a Tragically Hip song, or maybe that could have been a Tragically Hip song?
Well, Gord said to me on my, we didn't really comment too heavily. I mean, I told Gord I really like Coke Machine Glow, and there was a book that came with it, book of poetry, and I love that. So I was quite complimentary. No one really mentioned anything about my record, except Gord one day, when for some reason he had just heard Fix His Head, which is a title track of my first record. He's like, that should have been a Hip song. And I was like,
there you go.
Well, I kind of threw it by you guys, like in a funny, not with lyrics, because you write the lyrics, but I threw the music by you guys, and no one really seemed to...
Excited?
No one seemed excited, so it's like, okay, screw that. That's mine.
Interesting. I'm always curious about, I've never been in a band, so, I'm always curious about the inner politics in a band. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, we were always, very nice to each other. And so it was never like, oh, that idea sucks. You suck. We were never like that. It was always just if, like the music for Fix His Head, it just didn't catch on. So no one brings it up again.
Right.
And everyone, we would always, if any individual really liked a jam idea from the day before, you'd bring it up. And so that's how things just kind of floated to the top, was by the enthusiasm of one or two guys. And then the ones that weren't right and not great, maybe, no one ever brought them up again. So that's how we stayed together.
I will tell you, I've had many, many artists on this program, musicians, who have shared a stage of the Tragically Hip. And because I'm such a big Tragically Hip fan, I'm a big The Tragically Hip fan, Jake. I don't want to screw that up there. Do you care, Paul, if it's The Tragically Hip, or if I say I'm a big Tragically Hip fan?
It doesn't matter to me. No, it doesn't matter to me. I prefer the.
Okay.
Or the.
Because, it's awkward in some sentences. But okay, so I'm a big The Tragically Hip fan without a doubt. And every time I talk to artists who have shared a stage with you, I'll ask, like, what was it like? What were the Hip like to you? And to a T, every musician I ask that question to talk about what sweethearts you had. You're very good to your opening bands, the bands you share a festival stage with or whatnot, like very kind to these. And I always wonder, at the time when the guys were just probably genuinely good human beings, right? When they're being nice to people they're sharing a stage with. Like if they realize maybe 20 years later, these guys are going to be in someone's basement speaking on a mic that people are going to hear him, critique how we treated them.
Yeah, they were dinks.
It's going to come out 20 years later on some guy's podcast, whatever that is.
It was very important to us to be kind. A lot of most of the bands that opened for us, there was a reason for it. It's because we wanted them to, so we would offer them the gig. Right. And everyone was very kind. The only little untruth is, if you talk to any of those guys like Robbie or Gordon Sinclair or whatever, I watch them every night. And it's like, no, I went outside stage every night because I would sort of detour for a smoke, but I watched every band every night. And Gord Downey really couldn't because he can't be seen side stage before he goes on. So it's just like, but anyway, that was one of the best things about the whole experience is that we got to bring bands. And you know who opened for us the most?
Can I get
the most shows?
The Watchmen?
No, but
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts, and they told me the last time we played with them was their 93rd time opening for us. It was an outdoor show in Montreal, and I was like, seriously? Anyway, 93 times.
See, I got on my second guess because I have seen Sam Roberts open many times. I try to keep up with you guys. But Stephen Dame, there's a name right? Stephen Dame. This is not the first time you're hearing the name Stephen Dame. He writes...
I do, yeah.
So you mentioned Sam Roberts.
He's a smart guy, yeah.
After the Hip ended... Is the Hip okay if I miss Tragically?
The Hip's great.
Okay.
I love the Hip. Probably better than the Tragically Hip.
And I just want to say I added the because I'm respectful. I see Steven only wrote after Hip ended. Okay, it's after the Hip ended. Paul gifted one of his most iconic to us Hip nerds anyways, guitars to Sam Roberts. Sam would often tell the story before using it on stage, as he did at the CNE Bandshell in 2017. Did Paul ever gift any other guitars or offer any advice to any other Canadian rockers? It's a great question.
Yeah, I don't think I ever gifted any other guitars. If I ever gave advice to any budding Canadian rockers, I don't remember. I would have said, you're better out of it. Don't do it. But no, I don't think, actually the only advice I think I consistently gave was you have to get along. You have to get lucky that it's the right people. And if it's the right people, then you just need to work on, making decisions together, because that's the toughest part of it is you have to, and especially scheduling, and everyone wants a life and all that kind of stuff. So I know we just got very lucky that we stayed on the same page through kids and tours and recording, and just all that we were able to figure out gradually, and we stayed great friends. So that's our biggest achievement.
Well, let me echo the sentiments of Andrew, who wrote in when I said Paul's making his Toronto Mike debut. Andrew wrote in and said, just tell him thanks from all of us. I'm going to echo that sentiment. Like, how many summers, right, Greg? Like, were like the soundtrack of our summers, or the
100%, and like tons of shows. I went to a bunch of shows. I was always a mess, but I remember most of them.
Well, if you know what, if you remember them, you weren't there. That's what I say. If you can remember those shows, you weren't really there.
That is deep.
I think I stole that line about the 60s, but that's okay.
Apparently, he's maybe lying, but it's the reason why he loves backup singing so much is he says that he used to watch me. That
is, and rhythm guitar. And that's why I moved to Kingston. I'm sort of stalking you.
I thought it was for the headstones. No.
No, hey, if they're listening, I love you guys too, but no.
Oh man, so many places I want to go here. I know we don't have forever, so I'm going to cook with gas here. Hamilton Mike writes in, with his new album to promote, I was hoping FOTM Jake Gold would get Paul on your show. So that's Hamilton Mike. Thanks, Hamilton, because FOTM Jake Gold made it happen. On my birthday, he told me Paul was coming over. It was on my birthday. I go, that's a nice birthday gift. Okay.
Excellent.
Love Paul's first solo albums, and I'm eagerly anticipating this one. Just a reminder to Hamilton Mike. It's called Guess What? And it's available like
Now.
right now. Okay.
Go get it.
Go get it. And I have another cut I might play here in a minute, and we're going to get some live music. Okay. To finish Hamilton Mike's great question. Let me see. Love his solo albums. I'm eagerly anticipating this one. Please let him know he's one of my all-time favorite rhythm guitar players and a major influence on my style. So Hamilton Mike, another guy, one of many people in this universe influenced by your style, Paul.
Well, thanks, Hamilton Mike. Really appreciate it. You know, it's an honor. I think Dave Bedini said in his book that I look like I should be bagging groceries, and that the parts I play are so simple that I actually may have inspired more musicians than anyone else, because they look up and say, well, I could do that, which is a nice backhanded compliment. Thanks, Dave.
Love me some. Rio Static's another band I've seen open for the Hip. Okay, so like off the top of your head, I know you don't have metrics in front of you, but if you had to guess, like who would you guess are like the 5 bands who opened for the, if you just off the top of your head, obviously Sam Roberts, but you just, what are, like, to round out the five bands that have opened for the Hip the most often during the Tragically Hip's run?
Well,
won't hold you to it if you're wrong.
It's funny with the I call them the odds, but I think it's just odds. They open for us a lot. Now I'm just off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to sort of rank the Rio Statics, of course.
Yes.
Sons of Freedom were just a great band that we were really fans of. And then for a more modern touch, Rural Alberta Advantage. I don't like saying rural, so I call them RAA, but they opened a wing of a tour, a bunch of dates, and we really liked them. And then they just played Mariposa, as Greg and I and the Paul Langlois band did last weekend. And
amazing.
Yeah, and really good band. So anyway, but there was so many, by divine right, that Feist was a guitar player in, and that's how we know Leslie. And so just, there's a pile of bands. I'm sorry if I didn't mention you.
By divine right, love it. Now, Feist you mentioned, so Decan wrote in, any plans, I gotta know the answer to this, any plans to tour as the Tragically Hip with guest vocalists like Leslie Feist, like you did at the Junos a few years back?
Well, the Junos was a one-off, and the only reason we said yes is because Jake or someone involved with Jake had the idea of Feist, because we were all against it, no matter who they suggested. And then all of a sudden it's like, how about Leslie Feist? And it was on a Zoom call, and we were all like, okay.
Wow.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea. And so that was the only reason, just because of her. And we did another thing with William Prince for Buffy St. Marie's 80th birthday. Just a one-off, very tricky song of his, and we're all fans of his. So we have done it twice as a one-off. And we're also agreed that we'll never say never. But no, you know, we're all
never say never, but you will say no.
We're all kind of like just no until some idea comes up that's a good one. And we haven't even jammed instrumentally. Like we've found each other again. So we talk a lot, obviously with Jake too. And, you know, regular Zoom calls. We got a studio. We got a bunch of stuff going on. We're digging up old recordings that people haven't heard and putting out, you know, releases. And that's enough for us. But we'll never say never. That's what we've just agreed to agree on that. But I don't see it personally.
Okay, Kevin Bailey wrote in. He's got an idea, and I dropped this guy's name earlier just coincidentally, but Kevin Bailey, and I'm agreeing with Kevin on this one. He says the world needs a Tragically Hip Neil Young collaboration. Maybe Neil and the guys.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Greg on board.
That'd
Jake's
cool.
making a phone call right now. I think he's going to close that deal.
Of course, it'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Can I open?
Yes, you can. He'd be the perfect opener. But Neil's not going to do it. And
okay, but let's say he did do it. He said yes. We're just spitballing here. I'm not. Again, none of this is binding. Okay, don't worry.
Okay.
No lawyers involved here. But if Neil agreed, even if it was a one-off, I don't know, some show, I don't know, Downsview Park or something, what do I know? But Neil Young, to raise money for some great charity or something. Neil Young and the surviving members of the Tragically Hip, would you be down?
Yeah, like if Neil is singing and we're playing behind him?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Well, of course we'd say yes.
Okay.
And
shake it on it, buddy. We can do this.
Of course we'd say yes to that.
At TMLX 13, maybe at Great Lakes, I think we'll get this going.
Yeah, but we're not going to get a hold of Neil, and we're not going to push.
He's in the
this.
Kawarthas right now. I feel like you can bump into him in a restaurant in Peterborough or something.
Yep, and no, of course we all love him, but we're not the kind of guys who are going to pick this. No. It'd be Jake's job.
That's what
Jake.
That's his role.
Yeah,
and I'm glad he's back doing that.
Can I open Jake?
Oh, Jake's no fool.
He's nodding
okay?
yes. He's nodding yes, bud.
Jamie Dew. Okay, I'm glad Jamie Dew sent in a question because I'm going to talk about something he's up to right now. Jamie Dew writes, the 14th of July was a big day. You released the new album, which we've been talking about. Guess what is the new album? And Phantom Power turned 25 years old. What do you remember, Paul, about those Phantom Power sessions, and how do you feel the album stands after 25 years?
Well, I'll answer that question, but first off, I'll say I didn't know that it was going to be was it the 25th anniversary?
That's according to Jamie Dew. I haven't done the math.
On Phantom Power on the day of my solo release.
That's
and
a coincidence.
Kind of like, it's just like Gord Sinclair's hogging the internet with his solo record. And it's just like my solo record comes out and it's like, oh, there's another post from Gord. And he doesn't, he's not even on social media. But anyway, then I started to think of Phantom Power being on the same day. Oh, well, that helps me, right? Because I was in the band. And
you were
an
instrumental member of that band, absolutely.
Yeah, and we recorded that in Bath with Steve Berlin from Los Lobos, who is one of the smarter people I've ever met and one of the most hard to please as far as what you're doing, as a producer. And only good memories about that. I think we were really hitting our stride, to use I think Vapor Trails is on Phantom Power. Hitting our stride. That's a lyric in Vapor Trails. And,
yes.
I think we were all just kind of confident, and we had the songs in there that we needed to have, because we needed to just keep getting better. And Phantom Power, to me, is almost where we peaked.
Well, okay, and Steve Berlin here. Listeners of this program will know this song. Jake doesn't have headphones on, so he doesn't hear it, but Jake would know this song. But this was forever. It's called Do the Murray. It's Steve Berlin let Mark Hebscher use it for the opening theme to Hebsy on Sports. So whenever somebody mentions Steve Berlin, I'm obligated to play a little Do the Murray.
That is awesome. I love it.
Love it, love it. Okay. So I mentioned Jamie Dew. Jamie Dew, I'm now looking back at this poster. I want to tell everybody, because I'm certain many Tragically Hip fans are listening to us right now, and this is a chance for me to say a couple of things. One is that TMLX 13, which is my event, Jake, I hope to see you there, is August 31st, 6 to 9 p.m. at Great Lakes Brewery in Southern Etobicoke. And everybody should come because Palma Pasta is going to feed them. That's delicious, authentic Italian food. Everyone gets free food from Palma Pasta, a free drink from Great Lakes. It's going to be a great, great, great night. The very next day, which is September 1st, 2023, is Getting Hip to the Hip, an evening for the Downey Wenjack Fund. And it's 7:30 at the Rec Room. I urge everyone listening to go to gettinghiptothehip.com and use the promo code FOTM10. That's FOTM10. You'll save 10% on tickets. I will be there. We have a Tragically Hip cover band. We have a live recording of Getting Hip to the Hip. There's prizes and there's so much great stuff going on. So that's where you go, gettinghiptothehip.com, and use the promo code FOTM10. Join me September 1st, the day after TMLX 13 at the Rec Room for Getting Hip to the Hip. There you go. Okay, where did I want to go next? So many places I want to go next.
And I like Jamie.
Jamie Dew.
Can I shout out to him?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
went to his
right
house
now.
and I did a podcast and
Fully
a few years ago.
Completely. Is that the name? Yeah,
it was called Fully Completely Podcast.
Right.
And it was right when Gord was sick already. And I was in town kind of living with him. And so I took a cab up to Jamie's place and did a very interesting interview and really cool. So I'm sure I'll see you again, Jamie, but you're good. You're good.
Oh, he's going to love hearing that. Yeah, Jamie Dew's a good FOTM. So DJ Dream Doctor would like to know what your views are on the very first. I wanted to go back because I'm like, okay, I have a limited time with Paul. I want to talk about your new music, which is fantastic. You're going to play live. But I'm like, I can't do you can't do like a walk through the career of the Tragically Hip. That would be several hours that we don't have here. But I thought maybe I'm going to play a cut from the first EP and then I'm going to ask this question here. So we're going way back here, Tragically Hip fans. Just brew this in the background. Just a little bit. Okay, with Highway Girl simmering in the background, DJ Dream Doctor wants to know, he says, why didn't any songs from the first EP make the greatest hits album? I guess he's talking about your favorites, which keep selling. Like I just saw like a release yesterday. It hit another milestone in this country. But DJ Dream Doctor thinks there are songs on the EP that should have been on your favorites, and he wants to know why there weren't any.
Probably complicated answer. I mean, I do believe that your favorites was kind of voted on by the fans, the 35 songs or whatever. Wouldn't surprise me if Highway Girl and Small Town Bring Down and maybe even Last American Exit came in the top 35. And it wouldn't surprise me if we rejected it because it was a record that we still refer to as our baby record. And we still, I mean, not so much anymore, but we didn't feel like in control of that record. Like we were for Up to Here and Road Apples, which came right after. So it's probably half our fault and half whoever voted. Their fault too.
Good answer, actually. And I will say there was a huge, to me, step up from this EP, which is great. I listen to it all the time. But Up to Here was like, whoa, I still remember listening to Q107 and they played Blow It High Do. And it was literally one of those, like, I went to my buddy Joe and I said, we're going downtown. I got a CD I got to buy at Sam's. And it was like, I need to own this. Like, I got to get this thing. This is unbelievable. So big step up there.
Yeah.
What is that milestone your favorites hits? Do you know? I don't know. I got a release yesterday, like literally this last week. It was like, Jake knows, right? 1.5 million units sold for your favorites. Unbelievable. Even though, now everyone thinks that's how you spell your. U-Y-E-R. Like, this is bad for our spelling. Right?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Greg. Your job is to laugh at my jokes.
Yeah,
Greg.
sorry, dude. I got lost in your eyes.
I got lost. Oh, my God. I got lost in your eyes.
Yeah.
It happened at the same time. Give us a moment, Paul. We need just a moment here. Okay.
Turn off the mics.
Wow. Okay. Tyler Campbell, the VP of sales, he says, Paul's harmonies were such a big part of the Tragically Hip sound. What was his favorite song to sing on? And then I don't want to get it confusing by asking all the questions at once. So we'll stop right there. Paul, what was your favorite Tragically Hip song to sing on?
It's so funny because Gord Sinclair and I would get out of the way of each other. So it'd be like, no, you go ahead, man. You go ahead on every song. And he'd be like, no, you go ahead. And we didn't discuss harmonies. I hate discussing harmonies. We didn't go to the piano and be like, ooh.
Did you guys talk at all in this band? It sounds like there's no communication going on.
No, we were just nice. And so it was like, no, you go ahead. You grab this one. Well, one I was very happy to grab and enjoyed singing was Something On from Phantom Power. We were just talking about Phantom Power.
Yeah.
Something On is, and I did that after the fact at the Warehouse, Brian Adams' studio, and after we had recorded it in Bath. And I was just very happy that I grabbed a part just out of the air, and then after that really enjoyed singing it live.
We mentioned earlier Blue Rodeo, or at least we talked about Jimmy
Cuddy.
Yeah, so Blue Rodeo. Some songs are Cuddy songs and some are not. But
some are Greg's.
Right, some are Greg's. And some, let's talk about Sloan for a second. I'm a big Sloan fan, okay?
Yeah.
There's 4 lead singers in that band. So this is the second question from Tyler. Good one, Tyler. Okay. Was there any thought that you or another member of the Tragically Hip would sing lead on a song?
No, although once in North Bay, in the early days before we even recorded the Baby record, I had a song called Broken Road, which is the first song on my first record. And I did it in sound check because someone in the band suggested, hey, we should do Broken Road. Because I had just written it and maybe I'd played it for one guy or something. And so that was the only time. And no, it was never a consideration. I mean, Gord was too good. He wasn't playing guitar at the time. So what's he going to do? So no, never a consideration.
It's sort of like when you find that B track of Nirvana's Marigold and you go, oh, there's Dave Grohl. Like, it's the only song you can find of like Nirvana which doesn't have Kurt Cobain on lead vocals. And, look what happened next.
Well, I know. And you know what? He got the confidence from Kurt Cobain. I mean, that's why he is where he is in this business, is because he was in the band. And that's, you know, they were born frontmen. They were born singers and lyric writers, that kind of thing. And there are others that learned it because of their experience. Not comparing myself to Dave Grohl. I'm just saying his experience with Nirvana elevated him to where he's at now. And he's also apparently the nicest guy in rock and roll. I've never met him, but
I thought you were.
He had to be Canadian.
You are.
So you're saying, yeah, he's basically saying that Dave Grohl is the American version of the Tragically Hip.
Well, this is all I've heard about him is how nice he is. So it's like, good, you know, he's welcome here anytime.
For sure. Rob Pruce. So do you know the name Rob Pruce? So
I think I do.
So
yeah.
Rob Pruce
Why?
was the keyboardist for the Spoons.
Oh yeah,
during their heyday, basically, their glory days there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the Spoons a couple times, actually.
He would like to know if your new band needs a keyboard player. He'd love to be a member of your band.
You know, our guitar player, Joe, kind of hogs the keyboards in the studio.
Sorry.
Don't get Greg started. Did I just get you started?
No, I'm fine. I digress.
Rob's very good. I'm just going to endorse him. He played a TMLX event. He's excellent. And he was in Honeymoon Suite for a little bit after the Spoons.
Was he? Yeah.
Honeymoon Suite.
You know, we're not really keyboard oriented. And if we were, I
would quit.
Greg would quit, and I don't think Joe would really want anyone else playing keyboards or piano but him. But thanks for the offer, and sorry about that.
Do you mind if I play in the background here? We'll play a little bit of Guess What? This is the title track from the new Paul Langlois Band album here. Just why would you say no, right? Of course you can.
If it can't be used, if we don't know already, there's an easy way out. We ain't gonna take it, 'cause we're steady, steady here, steady there, anywhere. You and me, yeah, we're always the same way, and we see things together every time, anytime, everywhere. We see things together, yeah, yeah, all the time. Yeah, you and me. If it can't be used, if we don't know already, there's an easy way out. We're not gonna take it, 'cause we're steady, steady here, steady there, anywhere, yeah. You and me, and we're not blind to see that there's everyone, everywhere, everyone wants to be
Awesome. That's great.
Thanks a lot.
You
Thanks.
belting that out, man.
Thanks for playing that whole thing.
You know,
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
going to
awesome.
bring it down, but I was
Sounded
actually
nice.
digging it. Yeah, it sounded great.
It
Like,
sounded great.
sounds
We have
fucking
headphones on here, people, and
Wow.
listening in the headphones, that really sounded good. Thanks for playing the whole thing, Mike.
No, well, thanks for making that great music. Okay, again, cooking with gas. We don't have unlimited time. Mike McIntyre. I know Mike McIntyre from the Mimico Arena. He was coaching my son's hockey team a couple years ago. Hello, Mike. Great guest, Mike. Thanks, Mike. A lot of Mikes here. Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
I'd love to know how much material the Hip record. Gotta make sure I say it right. The Hip recorded together after Man Machine Poem, and if and when they might release this music. So Mike's asking the big question we all want to know is there any unreleased Tragically Hip music out there that we will eventually hear?
Honestly, the only time we did it at Gord Downey's place, where he was radiation and chemo at the time, and it was before the last tour. We all got together and we threw out about, 4 or 5 ideas, so maybe one each. And we did record that, but very acoustically, like Johnny was playing on the couch's arm, and we were just playing acoustically. I haven't listened to it. I doubt anyone else has listened to it. And there were 4 or 5 songs in the very beginning of their development. And so, not really. No, there's not really anything post, but there's a lot of pre. We record a lot more music than people heard. So, and that's the digging process and trying to find this stuff and release special sort of unheard material.
Well, that's like Saskadelphia and
it's like
so
that.
James Edgar, that was his question. Are there any Hip surprises in the Hip vault? And that it sounds like you're going through the crates or whatever and digging up stuff, right?
Yeah, and especially Johnny Fay is very, very good at it. He remembers all of it, or a lot more than we do. He lives in Toronto, which is very handy because, the tapes are probably closer to Toronto than they are to Kingston. And so that's an ongoing process and one that we enjoy. And Johnny does a lot of hard work for that.
Now, Paul, I haven't said this yet, but it goes without saying, I think, maybe on some level. But my condolences to you because, Gord Downey wasn't just the lead singer of the Tragically Hip, but you guys were very close, and I'm just sorry for your loss, man.
Oh, thanks very much. Yep, thanks. I'd never been through that before. My mother passed away since, but when Gord died, I knew he was going to die. We all did. It was just, I hadn't really even been through that before. And honestly, the band took basically a year and a half from even talking to each other. We didn't do what you probably should do is go, to a counselor or something. We all went through our grief in different ways and individually, and then eventually we found our way back to each other.
Well, everybody, grieves differently. That's one thing for sure. So there's no one size fits all there, but you found your way back.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks for even mentioning that.
Buffalo Boy wants to know, is Paul, you going to, with your band, are you going to visit Buffalo?
Well, yeah. Ideally, yeah, there's complications with work visas and that kind of stuff. But no, Buffalo is close to my heart. Why? Because they were as supportive a city as we could ever come across, the Hip. And so I would love to play Buffalo. We're kind of just playing a couple festivals this summer, a few, and we got maybe 3 or 4 more. And then we'll just see what happens. It's I don't have a need to really get out on the road, but Greg would happily be on the road.
For the rest of my life.
Let's do it for Greg. Do it for Greg.
Well, no, we'd like to.
That'd be nice,
We'd like to.
Yeah.
You had a good experience with Don Smith, right? Like this was a positive experience.
Oh yeah, he was great.
All right. I just watched a screener copy of a new Lowest of the Low documentary called Subversives. I just watched it this last week. I'm a big fan of Lowest of the Low.
That is out? It's out already?
No, it's not out yet. You got to know people. For you, it might be out, but that'd be a side conversation.
No, I just that's good to know.
It's coming. I think the premiere. I want to say the premiere is in late September or something at the Rivoli, and then it'll be somewhere. But anyway, it's just interesting to hear their Don Smith story and how it is so different from your Don Smith experience.
Like
they had
really? Yeah.
Because the second, so the first big album is Shakespeare in My Butt, and then they do their second album with Don Smith. And it's a horrific experience for the band, and you hear him talking about it, Ron Hawkins and everything. Yeah, just terrible. I know he's passed away since, so we won't, But I was for the record, though, the Tragically Hip had a positive experience of Don Smith.
Oh my God, yeah, like he made us. I think if we hadn't had him as a producer, I think things could have really gone sideways. Like he really was just like, just do what you do, and I'll capture the sound. He was a dude, so I'm trying to picture what the lowest of low what the bad experience was.
Well, I can tell you because he did tell it on my show, and I'm not spoiling the doc, but Don was blatantly racist in the presence of the band members, and it caused a huge friction. Now, this is a story told by Ron Hawkins in my backyard on Toronto Mike. So I'm just quoting him.
Ready?
Another one, okay. On that note, so
that's good timing. No, but honestly, that actually shocks me. I never.
Well, afterwards, I'll tell you the quote after we finish recording.
Okay, well, but he was a Texas guy that had moved to LA, and I don't know. I don't think we ever really discussed race.
It didn't come up.
Not that I know of. No, I think he would have had a serious problem with. Really, all of us or a few of us, if
of course
it had gone that way, and I think we recorded in Memphis and then in New Orleans, and so it would have been obvious. But if they say that, hey, that's
right,
that's their thing, and I'm sorry to hear that.
It's a good doc. You're gonna dig it. Actually, it's a good doc.
Okay, I don't want to watch it anymore.
He's tapping out. Brian Smith goes, "This is the Tragically Hip related question." Paul's, your last show, the Tragically Hip. Your last show in London, the set was cut short, according to the set list that was posted. The last song played had no drummer. What happened with him? Why was the last song not played on the set list? Do you know what Brian's talking about?
Well, I know what the last song was because I wrote the set list. The last song was Little Bones, and the song before that, was our second encore, was Fiddler's Green. So we ended it with Fiddler's Green. I think this is okay. Johnny had an issue. He was feeling funny and faint. And so it was like the decision was made, okay, he's got to leave. And then the very good decision was made, we're not playing Little Bones without Johnny. So it was just like, okay, see you later. Right. And he was okay in the end.
Good.
But he actually did get taken to the hospital and checked out just because he was maybe overheated or that. I don't know if there was ever a determination, but it was nothing
I'm glad
serious,
it was nothing serious. That's what matters most here. I have a question now, which is one of my favorite Tragically Hip songs was the 38 Years Old. Loved it, but I think I was up to seeing you guys live, I don't know, 11, 12 times. I had never heard you guys play 38 Years Old live. I then finally, though, at Fort York, I'm at Fort York wearing my Bill Barilko jersey. Okay, I have a retro Bill Barilko jersey. I'm at Fort York, and you guys break into 38 Years Old. So my question is there a specific reason why you guys never seem to play it live?
Gord hated it.
Well, that's a good reason, actually. That's a good fucking reason.
That was the main reason.
Gord hated it.
He was just bummed. He became bummed after a while, maybe a year of playing it, that he said, my older brother Mike,
he has a Mike, yeah.
My sister got raped and man got killed, and he was just so mad at himself for actually name checking his actual brother Mike that he was like, he just decided it was a stupid song and he didn't like it. And we're like, there's a lot of people in prison who love it, and the crowd really loves it. You want to
Toronto
do that.
Mike loves it.
It took a lot of years to sort of get him to back in a spot where he wanted to play it, and he did get there, but it just
Well,
took
yeah,
him
I saw
20
it.
years.
I finally saw it. Yeah, I finally saw it at Fort York, which was a great show, actually. And I just find the things you remember from shows. It's like I'm used to being like gouged for like my beverages and my food when I have them at concerts. Like I'm just used to it. But for some reason at Fort York, in the back of the field there was like get a drink. I think it was like get a beer and a dog, and it was like $5. And I can't tell if I dreamt that or not, but like $5 for a beer and a dog at any concert. Right, Greg? That's crazy,
I'm
right?
so hungry right now, actually.
Okay. Again, Cooking with Gas, we're going to get a live
Segue.
performance. Now I'm doing the math in my head. I don't know. One of you guys will have to draw straws, okay? But I have at least 2 in my freezer right now. 2 frozen lasagnas from Palma Pasta. These are delicious. They're big, they're delicious, and courtesy of Palma Pasta. You guys are going to draw straws. Maybe you're getting it. No, Jake's giving it to you.
Jake.
You guys,
Really?
Paul and Greg.
Aw.
I have.
I think
seriously.
Jake and I are going to grow old together.
Yeah.
You know what? He's
They're
a good
really getting
manager.
along.
He's a good manager.
We've only just met, and we
only
predicted
just
that
met.
they wouldn't. It's not going to work. But it's actually working.
After our first thing at in Toronto, the
Sugar Beach.
Yeah.
thing, Jake came up and I was like, "So am I fired?" And he was like, "Not yet."
He was lost in your eyes. Okay, that's what was going there. All right, so we already had the great beer. Thank you, Great Lakes. Okay, so I just want to shout out really quickly, recyclemyelectronics.ca. This is the great website from EPRA. It's funny because Jake is a big tennis guy. Jake plays tennis with Cliff Hacking, who is an FOTM from EPRA, and they're behind recyclemyelectronics.ca. If you have any old tech, any old electronics, old devices, don't throw it in the garbage because those chemicals end up in the landfill. But you can go to recyclemyelectronics.ca and find a safe place that they've accredited near you. Drop it off. It'll get recycled properly. That's your margin orders right there. And last but not least, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of this community since 1921. Great podcast there from Brad Jones at Ridley Funeral Home. It's called Life's Undertaking. You guys should subscribe and listen. And I get to co-host that show, so it's a lot of fun. All right, final questions here because I don't want anyone to think they sent me questions. I didn't get to it. PJ Pat says, please ask why. This is kind of related to that first EP we were talking about. People think that you're not giving enough love to that self-titled EP, but please ask the Tragically Hip why they stopped playing songs off their first release as their career progressed. There are great songs on that EP. People are angry, Paul. Where is these songs from the EP?
And over the years we talked to a lot of fans, because we always talk to them after the show, and we heard that a lot, and the only answer is we just didn't want to play them. I mean, I don't know why. It was just kind of like we felt like our career started, our recording career started with Up to Here, and we were wrong. We were wrong because Highway Girl. I mean, there's a lot of good songs on there. I'm a Werewolf Baby, but I got sick of doing that one because Gord would tackle me all the time. Like, there were just various reasons to not do those songs. So, yeah. So, we just didn't do it.
Would you take a moment before you get into your jam there? Would you take a moment maybe and say something about Danny Graves? I know I'm calling this guy out of the blue here, but I understand you guys are pretty tight. And I will say that Danny Graves drove all the way to Great Lakes Brewery in Southern Etobicoke to sing acoustic for FOTMs who had gathered for TMLX. I think that was TMLX 10. And he's an absolute sweetheart, and he's so good to the show. He's been on multiple times, and I'm a big Danny Graves fan. But you guys still tight?
Yeah, Greg and I just played with him at the workshop section of Mariposa. So we played, the Paul Langlois band played Saturday night, and then the next day Greg thankfully stuck around, and we played a few songs, and Danny got up and sang Bob Cajun with us, and he's great, sweetheart. He played harmonica, harp, and just beautiful, and he, obviously he's a very sweet singer and a very sweet person.
Well, there's an idea. We do a one-off show with Danny Graves singing with the surviving members of the Tragically Hip.
Yeah, he'd certainly be a candidate, but We're not doing that right now.
Never say never. Once a wise man once told me, never say never. How's your golf game before we get to your jam? How's your golf game going?
It's, not too good. But it's fine. It's fine. I don't really care about it. I like to get out. I'm not getting out much. But, here and there, once every week or two. And so that's good. And you know what? I wanted to say one more thing.
Of course.
Mike. I've done a couple of interviews for this record, and I haven't mentioned Adam Casper, who mixed this record. Okay, massive favor. He produced In Between Evolution. He's a Seattle guy, so if you ever
Pearl Jam, maybe
Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters,
I know this name.
Soundgarden. He is a dude,
Yes.
a dude upon
a
a
dude.
dude. Like he is, and he's so chill and he's so nice. And we just happened to, because Adam Casper was in the top of my contacts, so I just happened to, as we were about to record a month later, I just saw his name and I thought, I'm going to email him. And I paid him a bunch of money to mix Hugh Dillon's record, his first solo record that I produced.
Right.
And so I thought, hey, and so I emailed him, hey, you bastard, you remember I paid you all this money? And just kidding. And he got back and he's like, oh my God, I hope you made your money back. And anyway, we started talking and he's like, I'll mix your record. I said I was going to the studio. He said, I'll do it. And I'm like, And anyway, he was like, no, I'll do it. And I'm not going to, he could
No invoice?
He could charge so much. Anyway, I worked very closely with him after we recorded. And he was so, besides being so generous, he's just so good. And he mixed this record. It's kind of like exciting, right, Greg? Adam Casper mixed this record.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking deal.
It's
I'll
a
just
big,
say,
big
fucking
deal.
Did you
And I haven't even mentioned it.
swear? Are we
I'm
allowed
not
to
on the
swear?
radio. This is not radio. Did you think you were on
I'm
radio?
not going to
Greg?
start, Jake. I'm not. I just got the look.
He doesn't care if you swear. This guy knows.
Anyway,
rock stars swear.
It is a big fucking deal.
It's a big fucking deal.
And I
Paul
just
can
want to
swear, you
say
can swear.
that. I just want to say
Adam Casper, that is a big, and that's a name I know. I'm a big Pearl Jam fan too, and I know this name. This is a big fucking deal.
He's great. And
I
he's so
second that.
chill. And he actually there's 2 songs on your favorites of the Hip. No Threat and The New Maybe, which were kind of additional new songs.
Yeah.
And he came to Bath and recorded it, and it was winter. And he's like, oh my God, it's like, as we were reminiscing about it, and he's like, it's like frozen tundra out there, and
Hoth.
because we took him on
Right,
the lake
that's
and
right.
on the frozen lake and stuff.
Wow.
Anyway, he's a super dude.
Okay, good to hear. Glad you shouted him out. This is the moment here because I just saw the clock and I'm a good producer. I saw Jake and I said, I promised him we wouldn't take forever here. So you can set it up. I don't know. Do we need another mic? I don't even know. Are we okay?
I don't think so.
I just might aim this down a little bit.
Go
Maybe
nuts.
a little bit, yeah.
Because I could get another mic if you wanted. But
No, because I'll aim it down a bit and I'll sing down here. Okay. So this is a song on our new record, Paul Langlois Band. Guess what is the name of the record? The song's called I Feel Real Yo.
You hold on. You hold on to yourself. There's nothing wrong. You're in between. They'll come and pass like water through the seams of their crimes and the damage to your mind. You'll let them get away, 'cause you don't want them to see. I'll take you to the garden lights, take you to the riverside, and play me something warm and bright through the night, so I can feel like you see me, like I'm real. You hold on, yourself. There's nothing wrong. You're in between the calm and pass like water through the seam of their cries and the damage to your mind. You'll let them get away 'cause you don't want them to stay. I'll take you to the garden lights, then take you to the riverside, and play me something warm and bright through the night, so I can feel like you see me, like I'm real. Sometimes I get the feeling like I'm falling down. Try to resist and let go, but it just hangs around. Sometimes it doesn't work out just on my own, and I can't do it alone. So you hold on, keep holding on to yourself. There's nothing wrong. You're just in between. They'll come and pass like water through the seams.
Amazing. Oh my, I can cross this off my bucket list here. Get a member of the Tragically Hip to play live in my basement. Paul, that was incredible. Greg, you were great.
Oh, thanks, man.
Loved it so much. Amazing. Okay. What's next for you guys? Like, I know you did breakfast television and then you came here. And what's that like? Like, is this the new world we live in now, where it's like, okay, we got to do breakfast television, then we got to get to Toronto Mike's basement. I think that's really cool. You're here, man.
Well, as Greg's wife, Zoe, said to me a couple of days ago, she's like, you got to do that stuff, because I was complaining about having to do interviews and stuff because the records came out Friday. She's like, you're not going to have the opportunity, like at the end of July, to have all this stuff. The record's coming out now. You have to do what you have to do. Because I was complaining I had to arrive at breakfast television at 6 a.m. this morning, and I considered staying up, but I didn't. I forced
really
myself.
good thing you didn't. But
Are you sure you didn't? Because you guys did crack open a Great Lakes beer at 9:30
No, I forced myself to bed about 1:30, and but Zoe said, and I like it, and Jake would say it too. Anyone would say it. It's like you only have the opportunity of the release is where you have to sort of anything you can get. And that's not why I'm here, Mike, because this was overdue, our interview here, okay? So
I'm not
considering this like a release interview. This is just something that we needed to do.
twisted your arm, so to speak.
Not at all, but I have to take advantage of any opportunity. So this is going to last a few days. Then we're going to play some shows, and then we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully people out there like it, and hopefully we have, people that want to see us play, and we'll see what happens. But I don't care much.
Well, okay, I know you don't care, except you should be at least aware that it's a great album, and I'm glad you're still making music. And man, in order of appreciation, I'm not in any particular order, but I do want to thank Greg Ball for being here. You played live. That's
thank
amazing.
you very much, Mike.
Yay, Greg.
You earned your Palma pasta lasagna. So,
I got to drive back to Kingston. I think I'm going to leave it. You should eat it.
Oh, well, look, I got 4 kids, man. I always need food, so for sure. And Jake Gold, got to shout out the great FOTM, Jake Gold. Always a pleasure when I love talking to Jake, and thank you, Jake. I'm waving to Jake right now.
Thank you, Jake.
Gold.
Thanks, Jake.
And, of course, Paul Langlois making his Toronto Mike debut. It was just incredible for me, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
It was fun, Mike.
It was awesome.
Excellent. You do a great job.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,292nd. Is that right? Yes, 92nd episode. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Paul, you're like Paul at Paul Langlois 101, I want to say. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yep, that's my Twitter account. Yeah.
You can follow
I've
Paul
been locked out. I haven't brought that
right?
up, but yeah, I'm locked out of it.
Well, I used to know somebody, but I don't know anyone anymore, so I can't help you anymore. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. You thought rural was tough to say. I can't say brewery, but okay. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Getting Hip to the Hip is at Getting Hip Pod. Again, that's a Tragically Hip cover band and more. Everybody should come out and join me at that event, gettinghiptothehip.com. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. The Moment Lab are at The Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. See you all later this week when my special guest is, checks calendar, Robert Priest. See you then.
Much better man for having known you. You know that's true.